So Nigma just qualified for the minor, and Miracle absolutely popped off in this game as Storm Spirit. I think this hero is actually one of the best mid laners of the patch. I actually, frankly, contrary to when he was a much worse laner, I don't think he has that many bad matchups right now in the mid lane. And overall, if you're looking for a hero to carry in solo queue, I think Storm Spirit is by far one of the best mid laners to do it. And that's why we're here today, looking at Miracle, the god of Dota, playing Storm Spirit. Patch 7.23 has been one of the best patches of all time. I'm not kidding. I actually think this patch is absolutely fantastic. So much so that I've been playing it a lot and learning about the patch, coming up with new strategies, understanding the new items, the new heroes. It's really been a blast. And as a result, we've made 36 new pieces of content. Yes, 36 new pieces. That is a very high number. In the last week, me, your boy Speed, Yamson, a top tier carry player, and Frempo, a top tier carry player, are all making content you can't find anywhere else besides on the GameLeap website. If you're trying to improve, because that's why we're all here, you have to go over there. There's just more content on there than you will ever find here on YouTube. Everyone who has signed up in the last week has been raving about it, and check out exactly what they're talking about today in the description down below. So the first thing I want to do is analyze when they actually picked it and kind of some of the synergies or reasons why that might be. So looking at the enemy team, they have a Tusk, Crystal Maiden, Beastmaster, Gyrocopter, and Kunkka. So relatively decent catch. What I will say is every single one of these heroes can sort of control Storm. Now Gyro's Rocket is dodgeable, X-Mark's Torrent is dodgeable, Beastmaster has a long animation on his ulti, so it's technically cancelable, and Frostbite also has a relatively large animation, which also makes it hard to use on Storm, and then kind of the same thing for Snowball. So there is no instant disable for the Storm Spirit this game, which helps. However, what I want to say, guys, I think there's a large misconception around Storm Spirit that the only time this hero is good is particularly when, you know, the enemy team lacks disable. That's not true. Now, it can be good for Storm, but the thing is, there's other counters to Storm as well, such as tanky lineups, because a hero like Kunkka I actually think can theoretically be good against Storm because his boat makes it hard for Storm to burst people, which runs Storm out of mana. In addition, I think Nigma has some catch issues. You know, they might have the Pit of Malice, and the Ursa can get on top of people, and sure, they have Echo Stomp and Swap, but overall, I think having an Initiator for Nigma allows them to get really good Pit of Malice and Q combos off, really good Echo Stomps and Split Earths, which we'll see in this game. I mean, they were insane, and really just like, it kind of enables his team because they don't have this like quick jump hero, which I think Storm provides for them. So it's important to understand this hero's current laning stage because things have changed overall. Starting off with the items, naturally, we have 2 branches, 2 shared tangos, obviously, 2 circlets, and then a Mantle of Intelligence. I like this build over any of the other ones. I've seen people going Bassi. I'm not a huge fan. I think this build for stats is overall the best in this current meta. In terms of items, what I think is interesting about this game is he actually doesn't instantly ship a salve. He's sort of waiting for this Nil Talisman, which is a bit different. Definitely something we don't typically see. Let's really analyze how he approaches this first wave. So the first thing he does is hit the range creep. Now he does miss, like, unfortunate, but he is hitting the range creep. Now why is he doing this, right? Why is he doing this? It's for one reason and one reason only. It allows you to actually remnant the creep. Now he missed uphill twice there, which is very comical, but it allows you to push the wave on your opponent, right? Because he tried to use it to last hit both the melee creep and the range creep at the same time. And this puts you in a position of having a creep advantage, which makes your laning stage better. It makes it easier. You will take less damage, your opponent will take more damage. Next up, you want to make sure you're eating instantly one of your tangos as Storm Spirit. Because you're going to be trying to secure that range creep right away in the majority of matchups, it's very important to actually eat that shared tango, which is why you need these branches. Like, if you're not eating your tangos in the lane, it is a big mistake. It means you're wasting a lot of time or not playing the lane correctly. And yeah, really, this is kind of the main premise of Storm Spirit. You're going to be using Remnant to secure any sort of creep that you think is difficult, primarily range creeps. You basically should, if you can, Remnant every single range creep in every single lane, because it allows you to push out the wave, and that is optimal for Storm Spirit. Briefly, I'm not going to harp too much on the laning stage because I know it is not as interesting to all you gamers, but really what you need to understand is that your main priority, like, look where his focus is right now. This is so important. His focus is primarily on this range creep that's getting pressured over here, right? This one right here. After he kills it, he's looking at where his creeps are going, and he sees the range creep. Now, obviously, it's too late for a Remnant, so what you can do instead is attack and overload to secure the creep, which you should do. And finally, I want to make it clear that he does still ship out a salve. Please, guys, please buy salve. If you're not, it means you're not securing range creeps. You're probably going to be low on CS. And because he's not being greedy with his mana and being greedy with his spells, he's 9-0 right now, which is fantastic, you know, for a hero like Storm Spirit, who, you know, traditionally does not have the best laning stage. It's fine now. You're a very high armor hero with good damage and a fairly solid nuke. But overall, just consider that this is what you need to do to play the lane well. Talking about Dire, because he's playing on Dire side, it's actually very important and a very big efficiency play to actually stack this camp. Previously on Dire, what you do is you would move to the upper camp to actually farm it. Now this is the better one. It's like Radiant's camp now. So just take that into consideration. I think a lot of people don't realize this. Funny enough, even though it's kind of obvious, I didn't even realize it till recently. So yeah, this is a good camp to stack here. You hit it at 255 or, 55, whatever, and it stacks. So just a nice little efficiency play there. In addition, he bought another salve. This is only because Kunkka is a very high harass hero, so he needs to push out the lane ASAP, which you can tell that he's doing, right? Kills that wave instantly. It's 3 minutes and 32 seconds in. He has 21 CS, all lane creeps, right? It's just a really, really good play, right? Overall, it's just clean play. And you can tell a lot of players have this amount of CS, guys. I'm just trying to say, if you're trying to improve in Dota, if you're trying to become a better Dota 2 player, this number has to be high. Like, if it's not high, you're playing the lane wrong on a hero like Storm Spirit, who is very CS reliant. Once again, same pattern, don't switch it up, don't try to be creative, don't try to reinvent Dota, range creep, nuke it out, other creeps, nuke it out, using 2 remnants per wave at this point, and he's eventually looking to take his stack. The Kunkka is actually watching him, which is a great play by the Kunkka to make sure he doesn't take the stack. But overall, Miracle, great job using remnants to zone out the Kunkka, pushes in the lane, and now finally, because he has an arcane rune, he can try to take the stack. But the Kunkka is actually beautiful play. Like, I'm just trying to put this out there because I think what the Kunkka doing is actually sort of genius. He's dragging the wave over to pressure the storm, but finally, Mira gets the opportunity to actually farm it, using his arcane rune and bottle, and that is just giga efficiency. I mean, 35 CS at this point, even now making a kill attempt onto the storms here. Gets outplayed. Absolutely dumpstered. This Tanner guy is no joke. Frankly, I don't even know who he is. I don't know if this is some backup name, but like, he's been playing well all these games. If you guys don't know who Viking GG is, they actually took a series off of Nigma not too long ago, I think a few days ago. Regardless, kills like that and deaths like that should not set you behind. That is Miracle's only death of the game, and let's see how he sort of slow down the pace and make this game work. First off, buys raindrops. I really like raindrops now. You get 6 charges, and they give you 0.75 mana regen. It's just really good overall. Next thing I want to point out, at this point in the game, all you're going to really be trying to do is not just sit in lane and AFK. Your goal should be to try to nuke out camps and then pay attention to the creep wave. Currently, what he's doing is he has his eyes on the prize, and that is the mid lane, right? He's not going to farm it here only because he has stacks and a shrine, but when you are jungling, it is very important to actually be paying attention to the mid lane and seeing if you should push it out. Now, I want to ask you guys, why does he gank here? Why is he even considering to gank here? There is one reason and one reason only, in my opinion: the haste rune. Now, of course, you could be like, well, speed, they're under, his tower, and I think that's a great reason as well, but the primary reason that enables this gank to be heavy efficiency, that doesn't waste a lot of his time, is primarily this haste rune, because it allows him, to instantly get on top of this Beastmaster, which secures him a kill, and now he can even go for the CM, picking up another kill, even leveling up the Electric Vortex to secure it there. But primarily, guys, do not run to side lane. Please, hear me. I've watched so many Storm Spirits, and they all make this mistake. Do not run around and try to kill people for 28 minutes straight if the game is 28 minutes long. It doesn't work. It's trash. It's absolutely abysmal. The only reason he ganks there is primarily because he has a haste rune, which allows him to not waste a lot of time. His main goal is to make stacks, pick up runes, and farm and snowball his items, right? Look, taking stacks, and I know his teammates are making him stacks, right? You're not going to have that happen in your games unless you ask for it. And your supports, happen to be that friendly. Wow, even gets a brooch, lucky guy. But for the most part, make your own stacks, flash from the jungle. I don't expect you to have 76 CS by 840, but I do expect you to have at least 60 by 10 if I'm watching your gameplay. Next up here, I think, is the best play of the game. And a lot of players would look at this, they'd be like, he's just farming. Me, I think this is the best play he can make in this game. It's 10 minutes in. The enemy team got the top outpost, so it's not fighting for outposts. That's fine. He felt like his team couldn't get it. That's chill. But what does he do? He sees the enemy team setting up for top right now, right? We're looking at the minimap. Best players in the world, always looking at their minimap, like 24/7. Starts rotating over. He's like, maybe they're diving. Maybe I can show up. Has a haste rune again. This is a big deal. Has a clarity going as well. Guys, just putting that out there, if you don't buy Clarities on Storm, you can't play the hero properly. You can't be flash farming and fighting at the same time if you're not buying Clarities. So you have to buy Clarities, or else you literally won't be a top tier player if you don't buy Clarities. But regardless, he's like, maybe it's a good fight. Maybe not. What does he do when it's like, maybe it's not the best fight? He hits the nearby camp. He's just like, I'm just going to take the nearby camp. That's it. He's like, this fight is awful, team. So instead, he just goes back to farming. But his farming patterns were in the direction of the enemy team, in the direction of the fight. So if it looked good, he's in position, right? Even though it wasn't good, he was in position, so you can make the play. This is how you continue increasing efficiency and show up to the fights. People ask me this all the time. Speed, my team is feeding, want me to gank. How do I gank and keep farming? Right? This is the way. You literally have to jungle in the direction of the fight, which means that you were staring at the map. He is so lucky. He has gotten a royal jelly, a brooch, an elixir. Good lord if you have luck with these jungle items, but I mean, really good items here. Regardless though, I'm just trying to put it out there. He's just farming. You know? You notice how he's farming, guys? So if you don't know what farming is, I'll put it in just simple words. You hit creeps for gold. And what this does is it allows you to get into your next items. And I know... Yes, I'm being mildly sarcastic. I hope you guys know what farming means, but I see storms. Every single storm I've ever watched literally spends the whole game killing. It makes no sense to me. Your hero, if you go for kills all game, you can't farm because you burn your entire mana pool. You have to farm, and then if an easy fight shows up, you can attend it and quickly clean up. You do not want to be setting stuff up in the early game. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You notice how his Venge is getting gone on here? You see what he does when his Venge gets gone on? This is the best player in the world, arguably. You see what he does? Completely ignores it, because he understands that first off he would get return killed, high likelihood, even if he doesn't because they couldn't necessarily lock him down for long enough. Doesn't matter. He pushes out the mid wave because your goal on Storm Spirit should be to snowball with items. You have a massive timing, like an absolutely massive timing going into the mid game as they make this really beautiful setup play onto the Kunkka here. I'm just going to kind of show how he executes this, because executing on Storm and kills can actually be a bit difficult, but you really want to make usage of all your overload charges. So in this situation, he knows that the CM committed her Q and W, meaning CM is just auto attacks. He knows that the Kunkka also committed everything, right? And as a result, he can commit his overload, right? So the first thing he does is he auto attacks, right? Because he has an overload charge. This is very important. Then he pulls, right? Attacks, Qs, moves backwards because he doesn't want to die, attacks using every overload charge. If you're not using every overload charge, 9 times out of 10, there's something wrong. And then finally, you can, if you didn't know this about Storm Spirit, guys, you can use your Q mid auto attack to actually get an overload proc. So we'll see it here when the Kunkka was about to get away. He's like, okay, Kunkka's low, throws an auto attack, mid auto attack, spawns a remnant, and it gives it the overload charge, which secures him the kill. Really beautiful Dota coming out from Enigma Miracle. So just to be clear, the first play he actually makes on the map that wasn't that haste rune gank, like his first actual fight, which you guys should understand, it comes off a smoke gank. So like you can request for smoke ganks with your team, and the reason why this is good is because it doesn't force you to stop farming for a long period of time, and it also allows you to not have to burn your entire mana pool trying to catch someone. So he initiates on Shad here, and takes a Shad on Shad, which is amazing. Once again, just to highlight how he actually executes that kill, you zip in, you hit with the overload because you get a overload charge from Ball Lightning, you pull, you use the overload, you Q, you use the overload, you zip, you use the overload, you zip again, you use the overload, you Q, you use the overload. I know I said a lot of overloads, but I'm trying to stress this because I watch Storms and they're like, zip, 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 zip. Attack once, zip, zip. And then finally coming up here, this is what we call a zip bait. The only reason why he can play like this is because he has his Kaya now. He has a lot of intelligence items. All these early stats help him actually play like this. But he knows his team is in extreme advantage. I believe the Kunkka has committed the boat. CM has committed all of her spells. The Beastmaster, level 7. He knows that there's basically no way he dies right now. And as a result, he chases. You don't really want to initiate on Storm unless you understand that all of their spells are down. This is very important. Very, very important. And because of this, he can actually zip in, right? It might seem dangerous as the roar actually almost came out. Really good pull there to actually prevent it from coming out. But in general, he's only doing this, and look what happens. This is why Storm can be really good for these teams that don't have direct lockdown. Allows them to set up for a 2-man stomp. Here we go, baby. Let's go, baby. Gang! That's a lot of damage. But like, no joke, I'm serious. You're really good with heroes like Silencer and ET because you can bait and drag people together as players naturally clump up when you initiate on a hero like Storm, because they're trying to kill you together, so they actually clump up. And as a result, like, AoE team fighters actually have a field day when Storm can bait for them. Heads up, guys, make sure you're picking up bounty runes. Pick up the bounty runes. I'm sorry, pick up bounty runes. That's not really what I meant. I meant pick up arcane runes. Bounty runes are great too, but arcane runes, big deal. He actually doesn't pop us here because he just felt like it was such an easy fight. So he's like, I'm not even going to use it anyway. Great overload usage once again. But overall, make sure you're looking for runes. Regen runes and arcane runes completely change how Storm can play Dota 2. So it's very, very important that you actually are, picking them up consistently. In addition, you want to rush Bloodstone now. Do not rush any other item. Bloodstone is absolutely incredible as it now works with Kaya. Kaya now is, an item that upgrades into Bloodstone, and that is probably the main reason why Storm is just so good this patch. You just have this incredible build-up where you just buy a Bloodstone and all of a sudden you have a Kaya. It's absolutely incredible. I really think it's why this hero is becoming more and more meta. In addition, Royal Jelly is... Finally, they smoke here, and really let's pay attention to what he actually does. Oh, he farms the mid-creep wave. Gotcha, guys. You probably thought I was about to talk about fighting. No. Pushing creep waves. Haha. So let's actually talk about how Miracle plays around the long cast times. So you definitely know when they drafted this hero, he's already analyzing how he has to play the fights. He knows, and he's thinking about just the pure fact that he has to be zipping consistently, otherwise they can't catch him. But if he is zipping consistently, it's very difficult for them to catch him because they do not have instant disables. So he goes on the CM, understanding that the Tusk is most likely going to back her up. He runs backwards. Jabaited. Right? And now, obviously, this fight is just absolutely disastrous for Viking.gg because they get baited by the Storm Spirit, bad snowball comes out, and now at this point, look, Beastmaster's trying to roar him, right? He's like, oh, please. And then I think the Beastmaster get X'd. You see how disruptive he's being here? I mean, this is primarily because he has an Arcane Rune that he can zip this much. I mean, Arcane Runes are... Once you get Bloodstone Arcane Rune, it's just GG, just keep zipping. But essentially what he's trying to do here is mess with their spells and mess with their heads. First off, sets up for the Echo Stomp, right? Moves in. Looking for the backliners to continue to clump them up. Goes in, zips, but doesn't auto-attack purely because he knows that they have very good, they need to cast their spells to actually catch him, and they all have cast points, right? He's literally not letting him get his roar off, so he just keeps moving, right? Zips once again. Big Echo Stomp. His team's just cleaning up the backline at this point. They don't even have Ursa yet, and he's able to do this. Bottling, right? Bottling in the downtime. Fight breaks down. Still bottling. Has an Arcane Rune. Goes in. Great pull onto the Gyrocopter. Just a high priority target that was still full HP. And obviously, there's no way he plays like that if he doesn't have an Arcane Rune. I mean, let's just be real. If you don't have an Arcane Rune, you sort of need to pick off one hero and sort of chill on the back, right? Overall, Storm likes to kill heroes like CM right off the bat because he can burst them and bait out spells. But for the most part, but if you have an Arcane Rune, you can just go ham. You just zip everywhere, place down Remnants, make them X their Tusk, and or Beastmaster, X to Beastmaster. But just really, really good play coming out from Miracle there. And finally, the last thing I really want to say to you guys, he's 10-1-8, right? So extremely good score at this point in the game. What is something you also could notice with his score? He has 197 CS at 2051, right? And has 10 kills. If the typical pub player, when they have 10 kills, it typically means they'll have around 70 to 80 CS right now. And I'm not kidding. They'll have less than half. It's really insane. So how does he do this? It's kind of what I was pointing out earlier. If you're trying to become a top tier mid laner, you can't just run around and try to kill people all game. It's actually an abysmal playstyle. It's not reliable, it doesn't work, it's not efficient, it doesn't mean you're looking at the minimap, it doesn't mean you're trying to make the right play, it doesn't mean you're actually taking calculated decisions, it just means you're killing everyone you see on the minimap because you think your hero is mobile. It doesn't work. It does not work. So what do? You farm from camp to camp to camp, you pick up bounty runes, you fight around outposts, you fight around a haste rune, you fight around an arcane rune, you jungle with your regen rune, you push in the waves in between fights. All of this, if you really look at the replay, and that's why I can't push you guys more than anything to go on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, look up the hero you want to play, watch a replay of it, and just do that. Please, before you ever try a new hero, do that. And you will play so much better. Copy what they are doing, pay attention to their last hits, pay attention to how they lane, their skill build, their item build, and copy it. And you will all of a sudden become significantly better than your current bracket. And that's really what I'm trying to say here. Because a lot of players, they're trying to reinvent Dota, they're trying to just make up their own playstyle that's flashy, because at one point or some other, they saw Thompson have 60 CS at minute 15 on Pangolier, and they're like, this must be how mid lane is played every single game. Guys, that is hero specific. OG is a different breed of Dota, so please be careful, about locking onto this fighting playstyle. It's extremely dangerous, and you might be like, well, Speed, if that's optimal as well, can't I just learn how to become good at that? You better have some of the best map awareness and ability to move around the map and spellcasting of all time, which Thompson frankly has. The reason why he can get away with having less CS is because he doesn't spend much time jungling. Often his hero pool allows for it, and guys, it's not like when he plays Arc Warden or something like that, he's just fighting the whole game. He does it but based on heroes as well, you know what I mean? And that's why I think Storm is so good right now, because as a solo queue hero, you have a pretty solid laning stage for the most part, as long as you kind of do what I say. And then on the back end of that, you can just farm items and then show up to fights late and clean up. You want to be this clean up carry. If you're trying to gain MMR, highly recommend you try out Storm and become a clean up carry. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe to help the channel grow, and appreciate it as always. And of course, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, thanks everyone for watching the video. But before you leave, I just want to mention once again, we've made 36 new pieces of content in the last week. It's insane. Like, we're literally pumping out more and more every single day. Just extremely consistent, amazing content that we are making just for you guys so that you can excel in 7.23. So check it out, and I'll see you there.